This is Listening with Franklin Livingston, and our guest is Margeaux Appleton.
One more thing that came to my mind was you talked about healthcare. In today's world, the way our diseases are, the way people have knowledge and information about different conditions, human it's humans' need, basic need. So it's basic right to have healthcare, right? Now the question is it governments or it's communities or it's individuals' responsibility?
Yeah.
And that then leads into this political debate, which we have ongoing for years and centuries. Who's supposed to take care? But as a member of a faith based community, if you're a Christian, you say, I'm a Christian, I follow Jesus Christ. Then I think it's pretty clear. It's either or, there is no gray area where I struggle with this uh, reality. A lot of the churches, you go to a local church of a denomination. It doesn't matter it's Catholic or Protestant or Methodist or Baptist or Presbyterian. You go in, you tell them this is my need. They won't have any funds. They'll say we support such and such food pantry or shelter. You go there and start your paperwork. Now, say you walked into this church at 5 p.m. Now, this is all hypothetical, God forbid, but things happen. You got evicted by a powerful landlord, especially if you're in cities like New York City, and where no one listens to you. And you got kicked out of your apartment.
Oh.
It's 5 p.m. You go to a church, first of all, there will be no one in the office because it's an institution, it's not a community. Say you got there by 4:30, you met someone, they'll say, go to such and such place, start the paperwork. You go there, they'd say our intake days are only Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, I'm talking about lived out experience.
Yeah.
And if you were trying to get in Friday, they'll say, wait until Tuesday. I don't have money to go to a hotel. The answer will be, and this is very common, and I get scared with this answer. In the United States, mostly you'll get an answer, that's not my problem. Right?
Which it's not necessarily your problem, but it's your duty as a person to help others.
Especially if you claim to be a person of faith and if you're a Christian, and mostly pastors or priests you try to go and meet, they are the busiest people in the world. You can't meet them. Unless you're really rich and you give a lot of donation, they might make time for you.
Wiggle your way in.
Yeah.
It's something that should be accessible, but is not.
Right. So then why do you have to become a part of that church? Why? Because you can go there every Sunday, right? There are places people, like in Manhattan, for example, I have been to Catholic churches frequently. No one's going to talk to you. And if it's a talk, it's a very plastic smile. Hey, how you doing? You're okay.
I hope you enjoyed service.
Exactly. The music was so good.
Oh my goodness, isn't that lead singer just like, isn't their voice awesome?
And I think most of the churches I've been to, especially denominational, they are so focused on the music. The choir is so great. Or cookies after that.
Oh,
and
cookies.
You don't talk about actual stuff because there is no room to be open, to be vulnerable. And that's what you mentioned early on. You can go to an event. People might say, come, welcome, Sid, how you doing? But it doesn't mean you'll get that sense they want to know how I'm doing for real. And can I be open and vulnerable? Can I be honest? Or will I feel unsafe? Right?
Yes.
Now, if there's a faith community that believes in the biblical text, in terms of its principles, its essence, it doesn't matter they take everything literal or not. They say we live by the principles taught by Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
How can they say no to loving your neighbor yourself? Because that means, God forbid, if my daughter, or depending on what demographic, or myself was dealing with this, using, with your permission, using this language, disability, how? How would I have struggled? How would I have suffered? How would I have paid my bills? So I think that becomes community's responsibility.
Yeah, and I think it's also just back to the empathy thing, having empathy for others. Like people are like, "Oh, I'm so religious, I'm such a good person," and then someone asks for help, and they're like, "No, I'm busy," or this,
Wait. I'm a religious person because I go to mass or I go to church. That's why.
well, yeah, anything like that. Like I'm a religious person, or I like, have really good values, and I'll always help out someone in need. And then when someone's in need, a lot of times those people don't always help out because it is. I think it is also like as a human and how just primal instinct to protect yourself, right? And that'll always be everyone's priority is to save their own neck before anyone else's, right? Because that's what, because you have to sometimes, you have to, if you are in a place with no community, you have to be able to survive on your own. You have to be able to have that like wit about you to be able to, that stamina to be able to protect and fend for yourself. So I feel like some people are like, oh, I love to help people, but don't always take every opportunity to because they don't always necessarily like register that that's something that they could do while also taking care of themselves.
Wait, this help thing, actually, this phrase, I personally don't like this phrase, help,
Yeah, I think
because
it's
it has a lot of different connotations when it comes to, especially these days, even in the work environment, people will say, uh, instead of saying I can't come in on Thursday, they'll say, I won't be able to help you on Thursday, right? Help, and the same things, I'm happy to help you.
yeah, help is different. I feel
Generally,
more so support.
yeah,
Like support like I'm sorry I can't be in today to support the team. Not necessarily help because what are you helping? You're doing a responsibility, especially if you're working. And if not, it's like help maybe on like a task like, oh, I need help lifting these. Okay, like that's
because we are used to listening to this language. I have kitchen aid or I have kitchen help. So there's this idea of status difference,
yes.
that the person helping me either has a lower status, depending when, or a higher status, because someone is helping you
Yeah.
and you were right here. And
Yeah,
the other
it's
person
like
is here.
the difference with like tutoring, you'd say like someone's like almost above you in that sense, but if you like
More sympathetic.
yeah,
Right? Rather
someone
than
like you don't want to lift something
empathy.
and need someone else to lift something else up for you or something that's less or what is the word I'm
At
looking for?
equal level.
Yeah, it's less equal and less higher and more so like a little bit
Yeah.
lower. Like, oh, like I can't lift this, but you can do the
Yeah.
heavy lifting. So it's just how do you
Yeah,
you
certain occasions it means you were better than me because I am
Mhm.
receiving your help, and at the other occasions you were beneath me
Yeah.
because you were helping me. You're like my workers, servant.
I think it can always be swung each way depending on the mentality of the person who needs the support or needs or would like the support from other people and how they receive that. There's a difference between being like, even in the sense of to like service workers, like there's a difference between being polite and supportive during the service and, taking care of yourself as much as you can. And there's another thing being like, oh, well, you're supposed to serve me, so this, and this. There's a very different thing, especially when it comes to service and service industry, because like, yes, you're paying for a service, but also that's a human being. So you shouldn't just pretend like you're so much better than them because you could be in that exact same position and you probably have.
I wish everyone had thought about that at some point of their life. That
Yeah.
what if I was of that race? What if
that's
I
so
was in that
important.
profession?
You
Yeah.
always have to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and everything in life, when it comes to demographics, or something as simple as like being in a relationship. Like, me and my partner grew up in just different households. We both grew up in the same area, but our families are just different because of how they were raised, and family's the same and all that. So there are things we come to where we kind of hit a fork in the road where we're like, oh, we have different, ways of handling this. It's like, okay, if he's upset over something that I don't really understand why he might be upset, I'm like, okay, well, let me think about how he grew up and the experiences he's had as a person that could make this frustrating for him.
Hmm.
It's like, instead of disagreeing or getting defensive in any situation, instead of being like, well, why are they getting extra help right now? I want extra help. Well, do you help or whatever? I want extra. Do you need that right now? Put yourself in their shoes. Like, you're stable right now. They're not. Can we not help them out? In that sense of status, and what that means is just so mind-blowing to me, and something I constantly think about. It could be someone I've never met before, just an interaction with someone. If I have a negative interaction with someone, if I'm getting coffee, right, and the person who's checking me out is just not very nice, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, they should be in a better mood and be
Right.
better to me because I'm buying their product. No, I think, oh man, I really hope they're having an okay day. I hope everything's okay.
That makes such a difference in everything. I've personally tried with people. For example, if like 3 or 4 people, we have been to a restaurant, or even when we're driving on the road and we see somebody rushing through us or somebody just not being nice, having this perspective, maybe they are going through something that's making them be in this state of mind.
Absolutely. And
That changes the whole thing.
Absolutely. And there's a difference between like continuously negative actions that don't seem very prompted and a negative action prompted by a tough time, So if like there's someone who's negative to you every single time you speak to them, then you can be like, okay, what's going on? Why is this happening? I cannot figure it out. But if someone's just, you have a rude interaction with someone one time, everyone has bad days. I've yelled at people when I don't want. I've yelled at my partner when I didn't want to. I love that man to bits and pieces, but he did something super small, and I was like, on him, right? Because I'm a human being who deals with things. I was like, I'm so sorry. I had a really just rough and long day, and there was a lot going on, and I think I was just agitated. It's so easy to take out things on other people because you don't know what someone's gone through or going through something. And I do believe there is a difference between that and someone continuously making bad decisions that are harmful to themselves and to others. Because I think at a certain point you cannot justify that any longer, no matter what you say, demographic wise, illness wise. There's a difference between making a mistake and being a bad person and being downright, mean in a situation. That's very different. There's a difference between being mean on purpose or being mean because you were worked up and didn't know how to respond. And it's you can tell when someone's not nice to be not nice, to look down on you, and when someone's not nice because it was a heated moment and you were like, "Ooh, that did not make me feel very good," but I also, given the circumstances, understand why they're very upset right now. So something like that can come out. But if every time I see them, they say something along those lines that hurts my feelings in every single situation, we could be having a pleasant cup of coffee and they say a negative comment about me, then that's where you're like, okay, maybe this is a person I don't feel like I want to be around. No, it's not because they had a bad day. It's not because of any demographic reasons or ways they were brought up socially. It's just because, if you see something that doesn't change or you speak to them and you're like, hey, this isn't something I appreciate, and they continue to do that and intentionally hurt you, then it's different. But you always got to think about what someone's going through.
Yeah.
Even someone who just acts out. I mean, I have a lot of experience in childcare. I worked in childcare when I was younger, babysat a lot, as well as worked at a childcare center, mostly with the younger kids, like 3 to 18 months was like my special age. I was really good with them, but through all ages, kids act out. just like adults do. But in kids, it's okay for a kid to have a tantrum because they're overstimulated and don't know how to express their emotions. But a lot of times, kids aren't taught how to express their emotions, so they can still have tantrums when they're 30. And that's not always a bad thing. It's just a thing that's like, everyone feels emotion. And, everyone has moments. I cannot think of one person who I'm very close with who I've not seen had a lapse in judgment, a moment of weakness in like, oh, they said something that wasn't politically correct or whatever that means. Everyone has moments. Everyone makes mistakes, but there's a difference between a mistake or an accident and intentional, like malicious intent, And there's also a difference between like making a mistake and then being corrected for that mistake and being like, oh, hey, totally understand where you're coming from, but just letting you know that's not really a cool thing to say. Or at least like around me, that makes me feel a little bit offended, right? And so now if you see that person every week, and every week they continue to say that same thing to offend you, even after you say like, hey, I'm not super comfortable with that, that's not a mistake. That's not an accident.
Right.
That is not a slip up. That is a intentional, thing to somehow get under your skin in some way. And I don't think that is okay. But
And that's a sin.
In
using the language, the concept.
Using the concept of religion, yes. Some would believe that's a sin. I personally don't like the word sin.
I know. It's also outdated.
I think it's also something that I grew up, and that word was used a lot for things that...
Oh, that was used a lot or did not?
Was used a lot.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we talked a little bit. We'll talk actually today about that.
Yeah, I used a lot in the sense of like, oh, I put my elbows on the table and my mom would go, oh, take your elbows off the table, that's a sin. Right? Just as killing man is a sin. Are they the same level as like me putting my elbows on the table?
A sin? No.
Yeah, equivalent to me killing a man. It's not. I wouldn't call that a sin. I don't know what by fact and logistics defines sin. Is it just any lapse of judgment, any negative action, regardless of the intentions behind it? Or is it, again, something with malicious intent? Because it's like the argument of, or if you could do the same thing, but you could have intent, positive or negative intent behind it, and it could change the entire situation. Because if you say something and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I was just trying to help you, I really thought I was saying the right thing, other than being like, oh, I knew that was an offensive thing, and I said it anyways, because it shouldn't matter. Those are two very different things, and I think
I mean, bad manners, sins, and we're going to talk about sin in detail today.
Oh, amazing.
But when I was saying that, I was saying more like, I remember somebody asked in one of our classes in grad school, what is a sin, right? And the answer was, I don't know, give the answer. When you do something, your actions, it could be words too, that affects your relationship with God, right? So the reason I was saying, because I was saying, oh, if somebody has a great, beautiful, harmonious, loving relationship with someone, a friend or a significant other, could be, and you keep on doing something, it's annoying. So you are committing a sin because you are ruining that. Yeah,
you're hurting someone you love, even if it's unintentionally. I mean, there's been
but I wasn't saying in a religious sense.
No, I know, but I was just saying sin in general.
Yeah, no, I know. Like, it's a very, very strong word, and a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah, and that's why when it's brought up, even if it's not in a religious context, I like to touch back to religion on it, because it's important to know the